What's up, people? It's your girl Adeola. Happy Eid al-Fitr to all my Muslim viewers. I hope that you guys enjoyed the celebration. So, Ebola has made it to Nigeria, and of course, we're not prepared. I mean, we know that this disease has killed more than 600 people in neighboring countries, but like so many other things, not only have we not prepared, our doctors have been on a nationwide strike for the past 1 month. 1 month with no doctors? You see how messed up this is? I mean, it's good to rebuke and reject Ebola on Facebook like many people have been doing. Oh, Father, I will rebuke it to reject. That's great. But even the Bible says that faith without work is dead. We ought to be prepared while we were rebuking and rejecting. And of course, Nigerians, we blame the witches and wizards for almost everything. Symptoms that are very similar to that of malaria and typhoid, headache, fever, joint and muscle pains, general body weakness, vomiting, stomach pain, and lack of appetite. Now, the scariest thing is that people can spread this virus even through body fluid. Like if somebody sweats and you borrow their handkerchief and you use it, you should never borrow somebody else's handkerchief anyway. Or if they shake you with sweaty hands, which is why the Lagos state governor said that no more handshake, no more handshake, no more hugging for now. Not even a holy hug. Yeah, something like this. Thank you, my brother. You're very smart. And no more eating bushmeat, especially bat. All of you that order your plate of fufu from Mama Yusuf, yes, start asking for fish. No more bushmeat. A lot of people are getting this virus from eating bushmeat because some of the animals are carriers of the virus. I heard that some pastors are saying that they can cure Ebola. While I believe that there is nothing that God cannot do, if God did not tell you to go and pray for an Ebola victim, Kai, my brother and my sisters of God, please don't play with fire. Don't play. This is not just about you, it's also about your loved ones who may also contract the virus from you. But of course, my deepest condolences to everyone that have lost a loved one since the Ebola outbreak in Liberia, in other African countries. Please accept my condolences. But before I forget, I had something this week that made my stomach do buru buru. Can you guys believe that the Nigerian government tried to pay off the parents of the kidnapped girls? Hey whoa. I heard that it was a 100 million naira that they give these parents, but the presidency came out and denied it. Only for the parents to come out and say, it is not a lie, except for the fact that it was 24 million naira that they gave us. I said, Kai, see what poverty is doing to people in Nigeria. 24 million naira, and you're willing to settle for that. Remember last week, I told you that when the president met with the parents, all the journalists were sent out. So no one really knew about this money issue until fight broke out among the parents. Apparently, they were not satisfied with how the money was being shared. Some of them were given like 300,000 naira, others like 250,000 naira. Meanwhile, some parents were given ridiculous amounts like 7,000 naira. In fact, one man said that they gave him 300 naira. How much is that? Like $1.85. A parent whose daughter was kidnapped more than 3 months ago. 300 naira. Yeah, what a shame. First of all, it's not right that they are trying to pay these parents off. What is the money for? For them to stop protesting that the government should go after their daughters? Or for them to keep quiet? Or for them to accept that their daughters are not coming back? I mean, why can't the presidency spend that money on finding the girls instead of bribing the parents? Kai, Nigeria. And of course, as expected, Dr. Doyo Okupe came to defend the presidency. He said it did not happen. They didn't give any money. It's just the enemies of progress that are trying to paint the president bad. I said, shoo, does this president even need to be painted bad? Like, seriously? This whole administration has painted itself bad. And changing the color of Nigerian passports doesn't change the way people see us. Yes, it doesn't change anything if we don't change our corrupt ways. You guys are aware that they've changed the color of the Nigerian passports to red, right? Yes, so the green one is still being used, of course. That one has 32 pages, but the new one, the red one, has 64 pages. They said this one is for frequent flyers. I really don't know what that means. And the presidency is hoping that this will change the way people see Nigerians.
I want a situation where whenever you travel to another country and you raise your green passport, people should appreciate you. Not when you raise your green passport, people should begin to think that that green passport signifies some suspicious character.
My God, suspicious character. What? So the way to fix how people look at us is to change the color of our passport? I beg you. When will this administration realize that you can't just clean the outside of a cup when the inside stinks? You have to start cleaning from the inside. Anyway, meanwhile, while we're trying to look good to the outside world, Boko Haram is now using teenage girls as suicide bombers. I don't know if you've heard, because in the recent Kano and Kaduna bombings, the police confirmed that at least 3 of the suicide bombers were teenage girls. And my question is, where is Boko Haram finding teenage girls that are now carrying bombs? Tell me where. I mean, I don't want to imagine it, but there has been speculations, that Boko Haram is now turning our girls. Remember, they were supposed to write their WAEC examination. The speculation is that they are now turning them into suicide bombers. The suicide bombers in Lagos a few weeks ago was also a female, and then Boko Haram claimed responsibility. Another thing that I find really hard to explain is a 10-year-old girl who was arrested last week with bombs strapped to her. A 10-year-old girl! I don't understand. Meanwhile, the presidency is busy paying off parents. If they're using these girls as suicide bombers and there are more than 200 of them, we're in trouble. Don't think for a minute that, this will just be in the north. No, don't think so. And it's possible that Boko Haram guys are watching these girls from a distance and that they actually detonate the bomb from a distance. I don't know, because I keep wondering why a girl would agree to carry a bomb. But after more than 3 months of being raped every day, and after being fed the wrong doctrines, and I mean, that's enough to mess up somebody's mind, and for some people to want to end their lives anyways. But I just hope that something be done very soon before this completely gets out of hand. It's already out of hand as it is, but hopefully we can still save our girls, But you guys know I don't know anything. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. Moving on to South Africa. In case you've not heard, now the most popular course to study in school is now anthropology. Yes, so that is the study of humans in the past and in the present. Yes, very, very wonderful and noble course. Anthropology became popular in South Africa when the president's youngest daughter, that is 25-year-old Tutukile Zuma, was made the chief of staff in the Ministry of Telecommunications. Africans! Anthropology, Ministry of Telecommunications. Which reminds me of Nigeria, where we have a president that studied zoology. That is the study of animals. Oh my god, no wonder we're ruling Nigeria like an animal farm. But I'm going to be my own. All I know is that Zuma's daughter is now the youngest head of a minister's office in all of South Africa. I heard that she was hired about 2 months ago, and she's been miraculously promoted within 2 months, to be the chief of staff. Apparently, this girl will start earning about 1 million rand every year. Yes. A lot of South Africans are upset. They are saying that this lady used long legs, that she used the influence of her father, and then there are some that are saying that leave the girl alone now, that she really qualified, especially because she graduated with honors. Now, these are legitimate arguments in my opinion. These are legitimate arguments, right? Until I heard some people saying that she was the most qualified candidate for the position. I was like, hold on, how do you determine that when the position was never advertised? I was like, please, the girl is brilliant, we accept that she graduated with honors, but it was never advertised. You didn't allow people to send in their CV, their resume, or even apply. Anyway, this is not the first time that Zuma's family members would climb the ladder miraculously. Many of his relatives have been awarded huge contracts, in the oil sector, gold, cigarettes, diamond, airline, and retail industries. You get what I'm saying? That is in the last 5 years that he became president. Not only that, many of his family members hold executive positions in big companies, and even his eldest son, Edward Zuma, remember the one that was sued by the wedding company when he got married because he didn't pay his balance? Yes, that one. He's reportedly involved in so many companies, and he's been accused of corruption over and over again. And don't forget that the president's nephew, that is Kulubuse Zuma, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's a co-owner of a mine company with Nelson Mandela's grandson, and that company was also accused of failing to pay hundreds of workers. How can you not pay your workers? That I do not understand. And that was besides the fact that he was accused of being involved in a 13 million rand investment fraud. So no be today that Zuma has been putting his family members in strategic positions. He himself has been criticized for spending about 14 million pounds taxpayers' money on renovating, quote unquote, renovating his house. It is no longer about your qualifications, my people. In Africa today, it's all about who you know or who your father is. And now, speaking of who you know, is it true, that Grace Mugabe is preparing to take over from her husband in Zimbabwe? Hey, well, that shall never end. But maybe people are just speculating because what happened was that she was suddenly, she's never been in politics, but suddenly she was given a formal endorsement by her husband to take over the leadership of the party's women's league, the ZANU-PF, the ruling party. I guess that is why people are speculating that, hey, something smells fishy. What is Mugabe up to, putting Madame in that position? The next thing now, no be me talk more, but what do I know? Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. So today I'm so happy and so excited, to tell you guys that the Sudanese woman who was jailed because of her Christian faith, Miriam Ibrahim, has made it out of Sudan alive. Yes. So, they made it out. I'm so glad. I'm so happy, Thank you everyone that signed the petition for her release. And thank you everyone that prayed for this woman. I know that a lot of people have been praying for her. I was praying for her as well. And when I look at her pictures, I see a brave woman. I mean, she appears not to be shaken by everything. She looks like someone who fought a battle and won. Because quite honestly, a lot of women in her shoes have died without anyone even knowing. Her first stop was Italy, where she met with the Pope. A big thank you to the Italian diplomats for getting involved in her case. They say that they didn't even tell her or her family where they were taking them until they got to the airport. Just in case someone else is listening. And guess what? She arrived to the US this week, and you should see how people welcomed her and her family. Such a great relief, I'm sure. You see how things turned around for her. Her story is a beacon of hope that even the most hopeless situations can be reversed when people stand up for what is right. So please, let's not get tired of standing up for what is right or fighting for those who may not be able to fight for themselves. And speaking of hopeless situations, I hope that you guys have been following what's going on in Gaza. The war with Israel has been off and on for decades, and it's all over land issues. But in the last 30 days, things have really skyrocketed. After weeks of tension following the killing of 3 Israeli teenagers and the apparent revenge killing of a Palestinian teenager, Israel began a major offensive against Gaza on July 8. Now, at the moment, Israel has hit more than 4,000 sites in Gaza, killing more than 1,250 civilians. I mean, Gaza is firing back, but of course, they are no match for Israel, which is why Israel has about 56 casualties, while Gaza has more than 1,250 people dead already. Now, what breaks my heart the most is that most of the people that have been killed are civilians, especially children, little kids. I mean, I don't get it. Whatever the fight is about, there is nothing that justifies killing civilians. Nothing justifies killing children. Israel has been bombing schools, playgrounds. Just last week, they bombed a UN school where about 3,300 Palestinian civilians were taking refuge. I mean, if the UN building is not safe, tell me, where else do you want people to go? And another thing that breaks my heart is you will see videos of people going to bury their loved ones, and then Israel will bomb the entourage that is going to bury a loved one. I was like, no, this is not right. I know that so many people would rather not say anything, especially because Israel is involved. What if Israel were to be bombing my country? Would we still look at this issue the same way? And you can't tell me that God doesn't love this children that are being killed every day. And by the way, there are Africans in Palestine, so don't think that just because it's not in Africa that we are not affected. No. There are Africans in Gaza. Anyway, keep in mind that while the world is silent, human beings like you and I are being killed every day, especially children, But you guys know that I don't know anything. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. So did you guys hear what happened in the Gambia on Eid celebration? Hey! As you guys know, Muslims celebrate Eid on one of 2 days. You know, some people celebrated last Monday, others celebrated last Tuesday, but not in Gambia. Guess what? The president gave a very angry speech on the day that he observed the Eid prayers during a meeting with Muslims at the State House in Banjul.
Finally, I would also not allow people to divide Islam in the Gambia. Because also it is in the Quran. And we should not allow anyone to divide Islam or Muslims. Those who say they are waiting for, let me say that in Wolof.
Okay, stop it. The rest of the speech is in Wolof. That's why I have to stop it. But he basically said that no one would divide Muslims, you know. Therefore, anyone that doesn't celebrate Eid on the day that he is celebrating would not be allowed to celebrate the following day. You know, he told them in that video that any imam or any village head that disobeys would be jailed, that they will put them in prison. Policemen and paramilitary troops were patrolling everywhere the following day. They locked up mosques. Imams could not leave their houses because they kept their eyes on them. Everybody that had planned to celebrate Eid on the second day was not allowed to celebrate. He said he owns Gambia. No, he's not hiding it. He said it. If you understand Wolof, I beg, watch the full video. And that whoever refuses to pray on Monday would face the brunt of his power. Kai, you see what I'm saying? This is why it's not good to lie. Some people think that I'm lying when I talk about this Gambian president, how crazy he is. Is that right? Should you force the way you practice your own religion on other people? What happened to freedom of religion? This is what happens when someone has ruled for way too long. You know that he just celebrated his 20th year in power. 20. Let's take a look at some of the things that he did. Yes, in 20 years, he built a very beautiful arch, you know, at the Banjul airport in Gambia. It is very beautiful, you see. Jammeh also built the only university in the Gambia. Yes, you know they have one university. He built that university. Before he came, there was no university. That is very commendable. And then on top of that, he constructed roads. And even in many rural areas, you know, good roads. Again, that is very commendable. And he stopped sex tourism because there was a time that, you know, sex tourism was really booming in the Gambia. So he stopped this and he built a lot of hospitals. The man built hospitals. But, you know, the only problem is that there are no doctors and no medicines in the hospitals that he built, so people are still going abroad for treatment. Also, there are no good lecturers at the university which he built. People are complaining that there are no good lecturers. Oh, by the way, the arch is very pretty, right? But I heard that only his car and his wife's car, you know, the first lady's car, they're the only cars that are allowed to pass through the arch. Apparently the thing will collapse if everybody is passing through. I don't understand that. Anyway, so but in 20 years, are you kidding me? That's not even up to like 5 things in 20 years. Do you even need a year to do all that? No, this is not right. Do you guys know that when this man took over on July 25, 1994, he granted an interview to journalists in which he said that he led the military to take over because the former president was plundering the country's assets. Let me read some of what he said that day. He said, "We are going to institute a government that is composed mostly of civilians. What we want is for the nation's assets that have been plundered to be returned to the state for the benefit of all Gambians." And then the reporter asked him, so how soon should we expect a new government to be named, you know? And Jammeh said that we are not giving any timetable for elections. Let me put on my glasses. But that does not mean that we are here to stay too long. We don't want life presidency. We don't want a president that would rule for decades. Yes, bro, you said that the day you took over. That was 20 years ago. See how people change when they taste power? Power corrupts Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So in case Mr. President is watching, you totally deceived your people. You took over, convincing people that you have their best interest in mind. It's been 20 years now, Jermaine. What happened to your promise? So many innocent people have been killed by your administration, including students. Students who protested in broad daylight were shot and killed. Many journalists have been put in prison. Some journalists just disappeared after writing stories that the presidency doesn't like. Many chief justices have been in prison for years, including a Nigerian justice. You've not allowed any opposition party in the last 20 years. It's just been you and you alone. Anyone who speaks up against your government is immediately arrested. And to top it all, this president, Jermaine, has been accused of sleeping with young girls in exchange for scholarship to study abroad. You know, since there's only one university in the whole of Gambia, I know that there are only about 1.7 million people in Gambia, but still, one university, that's not enough. And now people can no longer practice religion the way they want. They have to pray the day that you pray. Meanwhile, you're cruising around in Rolls-Royce Phantom, two of them, each one costing about $500,000. You think people are not paying attention to this? That's not to talk about your other luxurious cars. Your net worth is said to be about $1.8 billion, and your madam keeps investing Gambian money in her country because you know she's not Gambian. You had a great opportunity to change things around when you came into power, and the former president wasn't doing well, but it's unfortunate that you are now the one plundering the wealth of Gambia. Seriously, Mr. Man, it would be good for you to just step down right now, before Nemesis catches up to you, because you know, whether you like it or not, someday, Jermaine, justice will prevail in the Gambia. It's all a matter of time. But you guys know that I don't know anything. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. Alright, y'all, it's been real, and I'm keeping it real right up in here. Until next week, I must see y'all later. Peace out.